Hi, I'm Aaron Kaiser. We're on site here in a normal neighborhood, and today we're going to look at what's in food. There's so much food nowadays, it's so processed, we don't even know what's in food. So we're here at a local residence, and they don't know we're going to be here, but we're going to go take a look inside of their kitchen. So let's go. Let's be very quiet and let's take a look inside. Now they don't know we're here. Let's just take a look in the fridge. A lot of food in here. Let's see what we got here. Let's just pick out some things. Hellmann's mayonnaise. Bologna. Who knows what's in that? And let's take a look at this bacon. USDA approved. You can trust the government, can't you? And this milk. Let's take a look in the freezer. Tyson, a trustable name, wouldn't you say? Corn's a vegetable, right? Let's go take a look in the pantry. So we picked out a few items from the fridge, but let's take a look in the Lazy Susan. Campbell's pork and beans. Just your run-of-the-mill stuff. Corn, sugar, beans. Let's take a look up top. Progresso, rich and hearty. Maybe we should take a look at that later. Cream of broccoli. What's in that? I think that's enough things. Soon we'll go on and take a look at what's in this food for real. Hello everyone. We're back in my office. Today we'll discuss some of the things that we pulled out of the pantry back at the Smith residence. But first, let's talk about the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. The USDA was created to protect us, the consumer, from the producer of food. But in Marion Nelson's book, Food Politics, we see a strikingly different picture. We see that the USDA is filled with elected officials, and a lot of those elected officials are supported by big dollars from the food corporations. So the food corporations lobby the government to pass laws and regulations that benefit the food corporations, while the small people, you and I, really have very little control other than consumer choice about what happens to our food. Another thing that I've read in Marion Nelson's book is the revolving door, where there's a very large exchange from people in the USDA going to work for the food corporations, or people from the food corporations going to work for the USDA. So you can see a very large conflict of interests with that. And the bottom line is the USDA was set up to protect the consumer, but there is a lot of oversight, and it really all matters about money. That's really, I think, what matters to them. So, like President Reagan used to say, trust but verify. The best person who's looking out for your health is you, and with all your meat and food products, you should always verify where they are coming from on your own. And if you can't find out, or the consumer won't tell you, then maybe you should look another place as best as you can to find other foods that are good for you and come from a place or are locally grown. Now, we had a lot of different products come out of that fridge and that pantry in the previous video. One of the products we pulled out was bologna, specifically Oscar Mayer bologna, which, by the way, is very tasty in between 2 slices of bread. But when I did some digging, I looked on BuzzFeed.com, and they interviewed several companies, rather asked several companies where their meat came from. Oscar Mayer said this: "We do not give our supplier lists. Furthermore, Kraft, who owns Oscar Mayer, said, as a publicly traded company, we believe our suppliers that help us make our quality Oscar Mayer products are a competitive advantage over the other brands." So pretty much their excuse is due to competition. They will not disclose where they get their meat to their consumer. So how do you know where it's coming from? If you can't trust the USDA and they say it's good, and then you can't get the answers from the consumer, how do you know? Remember that Progresso can of soup that we pulled out? Well, if you didn't know, Progresso is owned by General Mills, and when asked where their meat comes from, they said, "As a standing practice, we do not normally discuss our sourcing strategies." So how do you know? We also pulled out Campbell's. Campbell's soup, right? We all grew up with Campbell's chicken noodle soup. But where does it come from? Where does their meat come from? Well, Campbell's gave the most information when asked where their meat came from, but they still disclosed very little. They said this: "We do not share our supplier names due to competitive reasons." Sounds familiar, huh? Campbell sources all of its beef products from USDA-approved suppliers in the US and South America, and some of its organic beef in Australia. The chicken used in the products in the US are raised and processed in the US. We do not share supplier names due to competitive reasons. So, yet again, due to competitive reasons, you and I cannot find out where our meat comes from. Remember that bag of Tyson chicken I pulled out? Tyson, right? Well-known household brand. You'll find it everywhere in the store. You'll even find it in most of your fast food. Burger King, McDonald's, most of them go through Tyson. Wendy's. But in the film Food Inc., which is a documentary about our food, they interviewed Tyson, and they interviewed a Tyson farmer, and the farmer ended up closing down an interview with them because he was told by Tyson that he could not allow them onto his farm. What is Tyson hiding? I don't really know. I haven't been to a Tyson farm. However, as the movie suggested, Tyson has some poor chicken raising practices where they use windowless chicken coops that have a ventilation system, which pretty much means that the chickens are pumped full of antibiotics so that they can cram into these little cells and reproduce and grow at such a big rate that most of them can't even walk. A lot of them die in the coop, and then they come in at night and just take out the dead ones, and it's just you really start to see why Tyson didn't want the people making food inside their chicken coops, because consumers would not want to eat their chicken if they knew how the chicken was being raised or where it comes from. So yet again, another big brand who won't tell us about their food practices. Now, if they were doing everything right, what would they have to hide? Nothing, right? So the bottom line is, if you want to stay healthy, if you want to eat well, you need to know where your food is coming from. And it's going to take a lot of research on your part, but it's doable. You can shop local, farmers market, local butchers, ask around. Well, that's it.